sequences, and this is the definition. Each term after the first, so you start with 1, is found by multiplying the previous term by the common ratio. So does anyone remember the arithmetic sequence definition? It's almost the same thing. Each term after the first is found by not multiplying but adding the previous term by the common difference. So we switched up adding and difference with multiplying and ratio. So that is a difference. Are they the exact same type of sequence? No, because if they were, guess what I would have done with these two lessons? Combine them. So they're not. They're a little bit different, but we're going to see that there are a lot of similarities. Okay. Let's look at this sequence right here. The instructions on your homework are going to be determine whether this is an arithmetic sequence or a geometric sequence or neither. So the possibility is neither sequence. Okay, so this is what I do, guys. This is a review of yesterday. If I want to find out if this is arithmetic, I would do 4 minus 16. And what would that give me? Negative 12. And then I'm going to do 1 minus 4. And what does that give me? Negative 3. Now, is it arithmetic? No, because it doesn't have a common difference. So it is not arithmetic. But just because it's not arithmetic doesn't mean it's not a sequence. Bless you. So I want to ask about the word ratio. Does anyone remember what a ratio is? We're going to get into a ratio proportions unit, but does anyone know what a ratio is? Yep. Yeah, a rate like 50 miles per 1 hour. I go 7 meters per second. It's a comparison of two numbers. And how can you write a ratio? With a fraction bar. It's basically a fraction. And man, I'm going to tie it into this, hopefully pretty well. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at 4 and 16 and I'm going to write it as a ratio. 4 over 16. What does that reduce to? 1/4. Yep, you can reduce it to 1/4. Okay? Then I'm going to take the third and the second, 1 over 4, and what does that reduce to? It's just 1/4. But to make sure of this, guys, and this is the toughest part, what would be the next fraction that I write? It's kind of tough. 1/4 over 1. How many of you are looking at this and saying that's pretty complicated? That's like, it looks kind of weird to write a fraction like that. Be honest, it's weird. In fact, we call these complex fractions. Why is it complex? Because how many fraction bars do I have in one number? 2. And by the way, complex fractions in like Algebra 2, you get 5 fraction bars in one number. And you have to simplify it. And it's the same process. It will be the exact same process we go through right now.
So anything over 1 is just itself.
Yeah, so in this case, guess what we have? What's 1/4 over 1? It's 1/4. Yeah, good. What property, all right, I guess not one property. It is kind of a property. Says that 1/4 divided by 1 is itself. It's technically the identity property of multiplication, like in a different form. Do I have something in common? Do you know what this common thing is called? A common ratio. The common ratio. Well, you're like, how do you know it's a ratio, Mr. A? Did I find this ratio by dividing? Did I find this ratio by dividing? So you're like, how do you know if you divide it? What's a fraction also known as? A division problem. So did I get a fraction? Fraction, yep. Even if I got a whole number, if I compared these two numbers, those two and those two, I still got my common ratio, and that is R equals 1/4. Okay, I got my common ratio. That means what kind of sequence is it? Geometric. And if it's geometric, how do I find the next term? I want to find the next 4 terms. What do I do with that common ratio? I take 1/4 and do what with it? Multiply it by the common ratio. So 1/4 times 1/4. What does that get me? 1/16. That would be right here. 1/16. All right? How do I get the next term? I do 1/16 times the common ratio 1/4. And that gets me 1/64. How do I get the next term? I do 1/64, the previous term. And what do I multiply that by? 1/4. And what does that give me? 1/256. 1/256. So that's up here. 1/256. How in the world am I going to find that next one? 1/256 times 1/4, which is a whopping 1/1024. 1024. Okay, how did I find the common ratio? Technically by doing what operation? Division. What do I do with that common ratio? I multiply it. What did we do here, guys? Didn't we find the common difference by subtracting? And then what did we do to get those next terms? By adding that. And so it's the same thing here. Why do you think division and multiplication are linked up together? Because they are very, very similar. Why do you think addition and subtraction are linked up together? Because they are very, very similar. Did you guys see that? I told my 7th graders that I have 60 goals for them this year. 60 goals I want to hit. I want to make sure this. My first goal for them is to help them to see that algebra is easier than arithmetic. Algebra is easier than what they did in the past. Guess what one of my goals for you guys is? One of my 100 goals for you guys. You got 100.
Arithmetic is easier than
Sorry, algebra is easier than arithmetic. Arithmetic, by the way, is like adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Just those 4, really. So my goal is to convince you that algebra is easier than those. I have 2 years to accomplish that. Okay, so those are your 4. Your common ratio is 1/4. Yes, ma'am?
Can you use like the A7? Can you use that for this?
Yes, there is a formula that you're going to use, and that's especially when I ask you, like, what's the 10th term? What's the 50th term? I would use this, and there's going to be a similar one up here. But if when I ask you for the next 4 or next term, just go this route. Multiply, get that. Sorry, I forgot this part. Just multiply by that common ratio. Yes, ma'am?
A while ago when we had our homework, did we have to write the extra code like that? Or is it okay if we showed it like here?
Oh, you can show it many ways, but just give me the next 4 terms, however you write it. Here's the next sequence. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I need to determine whether it's arithmetic or geometric. How do I find out if it's arithmetic? What do? I subtract. Okay, so I'm going to do 1/2 minus -1/4. Remember, it's subtraction, so I got to show that, which is really 1/2 plus 1/4. Does anyone know what that gives me?
3/4.
Yes, 3/4, because the common denominator was 4. 2/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4. Okay. Then I have to do -1 minus 1/2. What does that give me? -3/2. Do I have a common difference? No. Is
-1/4 for the first one.
this one?
Yeah.
It's 1/2 minus -1/4, which change opposite gets me that. That makes it, for me, easier to see. No common difference, not arithmetic. But does that mean it's not a sequence? No, it just means it's not arithmetic. How do I find out if it's geometric? What do? What do you guys think I should do? I can either do this 1/2 divided by -1/4, or some of you are like, I hate that way. Is that complex, by the way? You can write it 1/2 divided by -1/4. How many of you prefer that way? How many of you can see that both of these are the same? That's where I want you to get to. Like, if you can rewrite this as that, we're good. So how do you work this one out? 1/2 divided by -1/4. Stay, change, flip. Stay, change, flip. And what do I get there? -2? Is that my common? Sorry, is that my ratio? Yes. Is it common? I don't know because I haven't tried it again. How am I going to get the second ratio? Yes, ma'am?
-1 divided by 1/2.
Okay, -1 divided by 1/2, which is -1 times 2 over 1, which gives me?
-2.
Oh, look at that. And because I want to make sure of it, what's 2 divided by -1? -2. So I said 2 divided by -1 would be -2. Do I have something in common? What is that common thing called? Not a common difference, but a common ratio. So what kind of sequence is this? If it has a common ratio, guess what it is? Geometric, automatically. If it's a common difference, what kind of sequence is it? Arithmetic. Can it be both?
No.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I don't understand why you're dividing. Like, what is it?
Because it's getting you that common ratio. Now, you're saying, Mr. A, can't you just multiply by something? Yes, you could. But that's not going to help you when you use this formula. Because the formula we use is going to deal with a ratio. It wants the ratio. Yes, ma'am.
I'm confused on like the order that you use when you divide.
Okay.
How do you know which one you divide?
Yes, you always take one term and divide by its previous term. So if you want to take this one, previous term, this one, previous term, and it's the same for those sequences, same thing. This divided by that, or this minus that. Sorry, common ratio is -2. Oh, that's later. How do I find the next term? So I need to find the next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's 2 times -2? -4. What's -4 times -2? +8. What's 8 times -2? -16. What's -16 times -2? +32. I found those next 4 terms. Okay? Now, what if I asked you to find me the 20th term? Is this a nice way to do it?
No.
I don't think so. You could. Okay, you could do it. It's not too bad. Yeah. Not too bad. I don't think it's too bad. But is there an easier way? Yes. We'll get to that in just a bit. Oh, but here's my hint. If they want the next 4, just do it the way we're doing it. If they want the 10th one, use a formula, which we'll get in just a couple of minutes. Yes, ma'am?
In the first one, we found the common ratio by subtracting.
Sorry, the last one, common ratio, we still divide 4 divided by 16. So I was trying to see if it's arithmetic, but it didn't work. Like I tried to subtract and it didn't work. Okay. Try this one on your own. Tell me if it's arithmetic or geometric, and here's what I'm going to say. If it's geometric, find me the next term. If it's arithmetic, leave it alone. If it's neither, just say neither and you're done. Anyone have a hint on how to start this up? Because this looks weird. Yeah, make them improper. You can do that to fractions. You keep them the same. So I'm going to do this. 10 over 1, 10 over 3, 10 over 9, 10 over 27, and if it's geometric, I want the next term. So is it arithmetic? Like, do I do 10 thirds minus 10 over 1? How many of you know it's not going to be arithmetic? Yeah, it's not. Because common denominator, you get 30 over 3, you get negative 20 over 3. Yeah, you're not getting it. Could it be geometric? I don't know. What's 10 thirds divided by 10 over 1? Well, how do I figure this out? Yeah, I'm trying. This is geometric now. 10 thirds divided. No, so I try subtracting because I want to see if it could be this. And then I know, nope, it's not that. So then I go to geometric where I divide. 1/3. It's stay, change, flip, cancel, cancel. I get 1/3. Is that a common ratio? I don't know. I don't know right now. How do I figure it out? I'll do 10 ninths divided by 10 thirds. Stay, change, flip. Oh, I get the same ratio. Hey, ask. Bless you.
So for arithmetic, I still don't understand how you figured out it was arithmetic.
Yeah, and here. Yeah, we went through that quickly. So I'll try to see if it's arithmetic. 10 thirds minus 10 over 1, right? Okay, so common denominator means I got 10 thirds minus 30 thirds to get common denominator. So that gives me negative 20 thirds. Okay, that's my first difference. Then I have to try with the next two. So 10 ninths minus 10 thirds, right? Which is going to be 10 ninths minus 30 ninths. That's negative 20 ninths. Do we get a common difference? No, so we're done. We know it's not arithmetic. Yes, ma'am?
So on our quiz, are you just going to give us like a problem and we're going to have to try and figure out if it's arithmetic or geometric?
Yeah.
Okay, but when you're trying to figure out if it's arithmetic, you get it on your first try and it's like not a denominator, like not the same denominator, can you just like flip?
Yeah. It's like I do this one, I worked it out, and then here I'm like, I know it's not going to be 3 denominator, then I'm done.
How'd you do that with the equation though? Like check that.
For equations?
Yes.
Oh, for this right here? Yeah, I'll be a little bit nicer. I'll say this is a geometric, this is a arithmetic. Find the 50th term. So I'll tell you which one to use. Yeah, I won't make you do that. Well, no, I won't make you do that. That's a good thought, though. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sorry, Dave.
We have to memorize that.
Yes, you have to memorize this. Oh, man. But there's something more there. There's a big blank underneath it that's going to be filled in just a moment. All right, how many of you got 1/3 as a common ratio? 1/3 is a common ratio. All right, is it geometric or arithmetic? It's not arithmetic, but it is geometric, right? How do I find that next term then? What's 10/27 times 1/3? 10/81. Can that be reduced? The only factors of 10 are 1, 2, 5, and 10, and those don't go in. Other than 1, none of them go into 81. So that's it. Did you guys notice the pattern? What's always on the top? 10. Look at the bottom. 1 times 3 times 3 times 3 times. So that's also a pattern. No. Yeah, that's this one right here. But there is a multiplicative pattern on these geometric sequences.
Wait, so
Yes, ma'am?
the next one would be 10 over 27 times
1/3. Gives you 10/81. Trust the process, though. All right, here's what you wanted. Here's a formula for geometric sequences. Do you have to memorize this? Yes. I mean, I should say this. You don't have to, but is it going to help you on the test or quiz, I should say? Yes, it will. So let me be honest with you. If I asked you for the 10th term of either one of these sequences, you don't have to use this. You don't have to use a formula. You could just get to the 10th term eventually. What's going to help you to get to that 10th term a lot easier? One of the formulas. So please, I would memorize it. Mr. A, I didn't have enough time to memorize it. Fine, just do it the long. I'll give you a lot of space. And then an extra sheet. Get your own sheet of paper. Yeah, if you need more paper, get your own. Okay. Can you see something here real quick, though, before you get too discouraged about it? So the geometric formula, what's common? Sorry, you get a common ratio, which is R, right? So they both have something common. One's a difference, one's a ratio. The formula, A sub n. What do you notice about the two? Start off the same. Equals A sub 1. So far, so good. What changes? Instead of adding, you're multiplying. And then, in this case, you're doing R to the, n minus 1. N minus 1. Okay, what's all that? So they're not, hopefully they're not like brand new, just change it all up. What does a sub n stand for? So think even arithmetic. What did a sub n stand for? Does anyone remember? This is tough, but yeah.
Whichever one you're trying to find.
Yeah, if I asked you what's the 60th term, what would you put for n? 60. What would you put for n? 60. So you put 60 here and there. What's a sub 1? It's always the first term in the sequence. And then what's r? Common ratio. So you just plug in those numbers where they belong. Okay, on that last sequence, what was it, 10, 10 thirds, 10 ninths? Is that what it was? I want you to find me the 7th term using this formula. And this is how we're going to do it. Which term did I just ask you for? The 7th. So, right, a sub 7. What was the first term in that sequence? 10. What was that common ratio? 1/3. Sorry, a sub 1, what was it on that last sequence?
Why did you put the last one? Wait, where did the 7th come from?
I just asked for it. Like I said, what is the 7th? We're going to figure it out together. So that's how I put it there. If I said, what's the 30th, I'd say put 30 there. But I'm just asking what's the 7th. Yes, ma'am? Yeah. What is 7 minus 1? So you're going to take this and raise it to the 6th power. Yeah, that's what you're doing. Didn't mean to throw you off too much here. People should be writing, though. I hope you guys are writing something. At least writing. That would help. Okay. What did I replace n with? 7. Why 7? Because I asked for the 7th. Okay. So I replaced 7 with n here and here. And what is 7 minus 1, by the way? So that's how I have 6. How did I get that 10? What was the first term in the sequence? 10. Where did we get the 1/3 from? That just magically appeared. It's that common ratio. Okay, so we got those parts. According to order of operations, what do you have to do first? 10 times 1/3 or 1/3 to the 6th? 1/3 to the 6th. So I'm going to work that out here. So that means, so 1/3 to the 6th means 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3. Okay, what's 1 to the 6th? 1. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. Sorry, 1. Oh. Are you guys joking with me here, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Soul. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to find what's 1/3 to the 6th. So if I worked it all out, I would do this. Yeah, and this is what you're thinking. Oh, we'll pretend that's a 3. Okay, is that 6 times? All right, so why don't you do what's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1? Okay, and then for this 3 times 3 times 3, 6 times here, there are many ways to do it. What's 3 times 3? 9. 3 times 3? 9. 3 times 3? 9. What's 9 times 9? 81 times 9? Ooh, 7, 2, 9. This story, I didn't know that off the top of my head. Neither did I. So we did this. Okay, so you could do that. That's allowed. You're allowed to show your work. Okay, I got 1 over 729. What is that equal to? 1/3 to the 6th. So what should I do with that 1 over 729 and 10? Multiply it. And so what is 10 times 1 over 729? What is 10 over 1 times 1 over 729? Oh no. Is that simplified? Yes. Did you guys notice any pattern with that sequence before? Ready? What's always on the numerator? What's in the denominator, I guess you should say. Yeah, you just go times 3, times 3, times 3. Yeah.
Why did you change it?
You could, yeah. A to the 7th equal, or A sub 7 equals 10 over 729. Yes, ma'am?
I don't understand why you changed it from 1 over 729 to 10 over 7.
Yeah, good question. So what is 1/3 to the 6th? 1 over 729. What do you have to do with the 10 and that 1 over? You multiply it. Then I get 10 to the 10 over. Big or small number?
Small. Really small. Tiny.
Okay, here's how you figure it out. Did any of you have pizza this weekend?
I did.
Okay. Whoa, wow. Okay, cool.
Where we got the Cedar Cliffs.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So I had pizza, and so my pizza now consists of gluten-free, dairy-free pizza. Now, my first 30 years of life, I ate whatever pizza I wanted, and I've had pizza from all over the nation. And some are good, some are not so good, but I could taste it all. Now I get to have my frozen, dairy-free, gluten-free pizza. Oh, so that would actually be kind of good. But anyway, and so I'm looking at this, and we bought it a couple days ago. I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat it. And I put it in the oven. It came out. I was like, I tasted it. Whoa, this is actually pretty good. Like, it's actually pretty good. Pretty good. It good. I got it on sale, yes, because I'm not buying full price of that. But Deal Mart. Okay, not from Deal Mart. But anyway.
Mr. Thomas who?
If you took your pizza or my pizza, okay, and we cut it into 729 slices, I got 10 of them. Is that a lot?
That's like math.
No.
You didn't get that much.
Sorry?
That's like
It's not even close to like an eighth of a pizza. You know what we normally cut up slices into? It's like cut that up into 70 slices. You got your pizza. Low carb, by the way. Okay, anyway. That's small. Small number. How do I know it's small? Because the denominator is really, really big, right? So I just want you to have number sense on that. All right. I want you to find the 9th term of that sequence.
Oh, yeah. That was a number. I was like, uh-oh.
No, that's not a number. That's a sequence.
Oh, yeah.
It's disgusting. Whoa.
Wait, is this another?
It's another problem. New problem.
If it's a number or a sequence,
Because
then you
there's
don't have to dot that out.
Great.
Because sometimes you don't have it. And like,
You're right. It'll be finite. But this is how you help. It says a sub 9 of blah. So you're like, a sub 9, that's referring to a number in a sequence, so that has to be a sequence. Like, whether it had a ... or not. I want the 9th one. You're like, how do you find the 9th one? Use the...
Yeah.
Boys, I want you to do that same method. Yes. That problem. Go ahead. Write that and do the same method, please. Go.
wait, I can do that.
Go do it.
Which one do you
I'll come back to you. Do this one. The boys who did the shortcut.
Wait, what was the sequence? Can you get back?
Don't worry about it. Come with this one right here. Good.
Wait, we're trying to figure out arithmetic.
Sorry.
It's confused.
Yes, they do have to. And let them. You guys can do it, and that's good. Find it out.
And it was like,
But let's look at this. Is this geometric? Do I get a common ratio? Sorry. Now I'm trying to show you some love here. This method, yes, you could do it. There's an easier way. You know, if you know it, great. But if you know how to use a geometric sequence, that's going to help you tomorrow. Because tomorrow, I'm not giving you easy ones like that. So
Terrible memory. What's the common ratio again?
it's the number that I found by dividing one term by its previous. So what's 20 divided by 2? 10. It's 20 divided by 2 is 10. What's 200 divided by 2? It's 10. So what's the common ratio? 10. Okay, great. So here's my formula. I want to find the 9th term. And what I do is I put a sub 9. What's the first term? 2 times, what's that common ratio? 10. To which power? Yes, 9 minus 1 is 8. Okay, you're like, what? Okay, 2 times the power of 10, it's basically 2 with how many zeros? 1. Don't forget commas, guys. If you have a big number like that, commas. Commas. Big or small number, by the way.
you never did to the 8. There's that. Oh my God.
Yeah, this is actually scientific. Isn't this scientific notation? So you just put, you could do it, you could work it out 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, but that's 100 million.
Wait, now I divide by 2, right?
Yes, so 2 times 100 million is 200 million. Okay, is that a big number or a small number?
Yeah.
He's never. Someone's like, hold on, give me some of that money, and that's a lot.
Oh, yes. That'd be like 3 of the pieces that you
Give me some of that money. How would you do arithmetic to check if it's arithmetic? Like, I
You would
know
do, you do 20 minus 2 would give you 18. 200 minus 20 would give you 180. But they're not the same. Always, yes.
It's always dividing. And for arithmetic, it's always subtracting.
Perfect. All right, go ahead. Okay, guys, you've now spent 5 minutes on it. Do you have?
We've been done for a while, but we've had 2 different answers, so we're trying to figure out which one's right.
So you've taken 5 minutes. That one of you get the right, one of you get the wrong, or both of you got it wrong. So those are the options. All right, here I want to find the 7th term. Yeah, go ahead, do it on your own. You figure it out. Use your formula, by the way. That's nice. I don't know. Figure it out. Yeah, either you're gonna use this formula or you're gonna use this formula. I don't
How
know.
do you know which one to use?
You find out if it's arithmetic or geometric. So what you do is you try 4.
Oh, I did the equations for this one.
Yeah, but you don't know which equation to use until you know if it's geometric, if you have a common difference or common ratio. So here I'm going to try to look for the common whatever. What's 4 minus negative 8? Yes, 12. What's negative 2 minus 4? Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Common difference? No, not a common difference. Not arithmetic. But 4 over negative 8? Negative 1/2. All right. Negative 2 over negative 2 over 4? Negative 1/2. Oh, what do we have? A common? Ratio. Good. So now I'm using the bottom one, the geometric one. Yeah, it took you 5 minutes to do it. This is our second minute. And I'm pausing right now. I'm just waiting for them, to work it out. But okay. We'll give them 4 minutes on that one. Yes.
So when did you
Okay. Did you figure this out?
yeah,
That's-
how did you figure out to do this?
Okay. You have 2 options. Either you subtract 4 minus negative 8, and it didn't come up with a common difference. So, and I showed it. I just erased. I did 4 minus negative 8. That's really state change opposite, which is 12. And then I tried negative 2 minus 4, negative 6. You see, I don't have a common. It's not arithmetic. But then now I try. All right, what's 4 divided by negative 8? That gets me negative 1/2. What's negative 2? So it is a common ratio. Then I go ahead and figure it out. All right. What is the formula? A sub 7. Who can finish it out for me? What do I put up here? Rachel? A sub 7 equals? Rachel.
Wait,
And
8
mm-hmm.
times negative 1/2, and 7 minus 1.
Which is 6. Okay. And I'm going to put that in parentheses to help me out, especially later on. What's negative 1/2 to the 6th? Positive 1. Sorry? Yeah, good. 1/64. 1/64. What's negative 8 times 1/64? It's negative 8 over 64, which reduces to negative 1/8. Negative 1/8.
We got that. Actually, yeah, the reason it took us long because we thought we could get A sub 9, so we went all the way to A sub 9 instead.
So you messed up.
But we still got it right.
Well, he never told us that.
We got it right. We have one all the way to A sub 9.
Yeah,
And it took
they got
longer.
it right.
Good. I wish you luck on your test. Because I'm really, boys, I'm going to ask you 30th term.
I'm not gonna
Yeah, I'm not doing
this
that.
on the test.
Good.
That'd be dumb.
Okay, quote. Yes, you're right. I'm good. Yeah. So you can, if you're finding the next 4, yeah, you can find it using a simpler method. But if you're trying to find something way out there, use something better.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
So for the exponents, if it is a even number, it's going to be positive, and if it's an odd number, it's going to be negative.
Not necessarily. It depends on what this number is.
Okay.
Yeah. If this is negative and that's a positive exponent, positive. If this is negative and that's a odd number, negative. Yeah, but if you don't try to memorize it, just do what's negative 1/2, what's negative 1/2, and then just see how the signs work out that way. Because that's hard to memorize. I mean, it's possible, but you don't have to do that. Okay. Yes, you may. 2 to 12 even. Those pages. I don't know. I don't know.